everyone! We've recently published a video telling you guys about the proposed Utah flag change process that's happening this year. In that video, we analyzed the Utah Senate bill which outlined that process. In addition to the flag change process, the state decided to create a special commemorative flag to celebrate the fact that 2021 marks the 125th anniversary of Utah's statehood. Here is the flag. We'll be giving our detailed opinions later, but just for now, we can tell that overall we think this is a really great flag. It was designed by Jonathan Martin. Jonathan is an award-winning filmmaker and also runs a major film festival in Utah. In his filmmaking profession, Jonathan finds himself doing a lot of graphic design for posters, ads, websites, and so on, and has a keen general interest in art and design. A number of years ago, he set up the organization for a new Utah flag. The organization's website has a ton of cool information, and we're going to be looking at some of the information on the site, including a bunch of other designs Jonathan came up with. We also spoke to Jonathan, and he was very kind to give us some really great background information which we're going to share with you. The inspiration for a new flag came a little over 3 years ago, and it wasn't Jonathan himself who set the ball rolling. That honor actually belongs to none other than Jonathan's dad. One day, his dad was looking at the current flag of Utah and said to himself, "What an ugly flag." Now, maybe calling it ugly was slightly harsh, but as flag lovers ourselves, we can definitely see where he was coming from. Utah is one of about half of the 50 U.S. states which has a seal or coat of arms placed on a plain background. So not only does the seal make the flag very complicated in design, it's also difficult to distinguish from many other state flags. Jonathan and his family are not from Utah originally, but have been living there for over 20 years. And it came as no surprise to us to learn that the family is originally from Texas. Now, Texas is famous for quite a few things, and of course for us, one of those things is their flag. Texas has one of the best, if not the best, state flag. So you could say that good flag design is in the DNA of Jonathan and his dad. So when Jonathan's dad told him about the idea for a new flag for Utah, Jonathan quickly came up with an idea and drew a sketch. And we're delighted to tell you that Jonathan sent us this initial sketch. And here it is. As we can see, his idea was a beehive at the flag's center with the year 1847 written underneath. These were placed on a circle which itself is placed on top of a saltire, or a diagonal cross. When Jonathan showed his sketch to his dad, he wasn't very impressed. So his dad hired a couple of professional designers and they came up with a new design. Their design has Jonathan's beehive concept with the year 1847 split up and placed to the left and right of the beehive. It also replaced the saltire with a red horizontal stripe with white fimbriations. A variant of the flag was also created which swaps the blue and red. The beehive design was created by Cambria Evans Christensen. She came up with two designs, one that had 5 rows and the other with 6. Jonathan preferred the one with 6 and used this design going forward. With the initial flag design, Jonathan knew there were 2 pretty big issues. One was the fact the yellow beehive was set on a white disc. Yellow and white have poor contrast, and therefore the beehive gets lost in the white background. And of course, the other big issue is the writing. Jonathan's dad wanted 1847 on the flag, but as all of you know, writing on flags is a bad idea because flags shouldn't have to resort to writing to convey symbolism. Also, there was a third issue, and that was the red star, which many people would associate with communism. So using the beehive and taking the issues we just mentioned into account, Jonathan came up with a ton of different designs. He put all these designs up on the website, so we highly recommend checking them all out. We're going to take a quick look at a few of them in a few moments. But first, many of you are probably wondering what the significance is in the beehive as well as 1847. Utah is known as the Beehive State, and 1847 was the year in which Brigham Young, along with other Mormon pioneers, arrived in Utah. The current flag has a beehive and also has the year 1847. It also has the year 1896, the year in which Utah joined the Union of U.S. states. It also has the word industry as well as Utah, which leads us to the first of a number of Jonathan's designs we're now going to look at. This one uses all the writing on the current flag except for 1896. So while this is good in terms of creating a strong link to the current flag, all that writing is not good flag design. Next, we have this design, which doesn't have any writing. The most interesting feature of this design is that underneath the beehive, we have a depiction of the sago lily, which is the state flower of Utah. While the stylized depiction is a very good piece of graphic design, it's still a little too detailed and way too small to be clearly seen on the flag. Also being so small, it gets way too dominated by the beehive. And with the beehive already used as the main feature of the flag, using the lily is unnecessary in our view. This next design has a bee underneath the hive. The bee is a redundant symbol given that we already have the beehive above it, and the bee design is not that easy to replicate, and like the lily on the previous flag, it's too small. Some of the designs look a bit too similar to other flags. This red saltire on white probably looks too much like the state flag of Florida, which has the same saltire charged with its state seal. And also we have the state flag of Alabama, which is simply the same red cross on white. We think this design has a similarity issue with another state. The red, white, and blue stripes along with the circular charge at the center makes this flag look too similar to the state flag of Missouri. The final design we're going to look at for now is this one. We chose this out of a number of designs that use the color green. In our opinion, green is very much underutilized when it comes to state flags. While many flags have small amounts of green as part of their seals or coats of arms, only one state flag uses green as a main color, and that state is Washington. Because green is so underused, we think it's definitely an option for future state flags, including perhaps Utah. While working on the various designs, Jonathan was also in consultation with various state lawmakers about a new flag, some of whom were very enthusiastic about a flag change for Utah. He also conducted surveys in Utah to gather the opinions of the people, and the results of the survey are on the website. We think the most important question was this one. Jonathan asked participants to pick up to 3 favorites among 12 options. The 12 options consisted of 11 of Jonathan's designs as well as the current flag of Utah. The most popular option was this one, with over 40% of participants choosing it among their favorites. The next most popular one was this variant, which doesn't have the writing. It was chosen by almost 30% of the participants, and of course is the flag design that has now become the commemorative flag. As for the current flag, it came in 11th place out of 12, with just over 10% choosing it. So there are a few things worth noting with this survey result. The commemorative flag design was clearly the most popular design among Jonathan's picks from his own catalog, with the 2 variants coming in first and second. It's interesting to note the version with the writing was more popular, but the version without the 1847 was ultimately chosen. From a flag design perspective, we think this was a good decision. And the other big thing to note is how badly the current flag performed. It's very clear that the people of Utah don't have any great love or pride in their state flag. And if this survey result wasn't enough evidence, here is another question from the survey that really makes that point even clearer. A massive 86% said they weren't proud of or didn't identify with the current flag. And here is another question from the survey that shows that roughly 3 out of every 10 people aren't even sure what the flag is. So with a clear apathy towards the current flag, it's probably not a surprise that Jonathan and others have been pushing for a new design. Here is another of Jonathan's designs we want to highlight. The organization went public with this one, and it garnered a lot of attention, including being featured in USA Today, as well as making statewide news in Utah. There was even talk of making this the state flag without setting up a committee, but that idea was opposed by others. This design has the same 3 issues we mentioned with this previous design, which are the color contrast of the yellow and white, the writing, and also the red star. Jonathan included this design in his survey, and it performed relatively poorly, ending up in 8th place out of 12, with just over 15% of people choosing it. There have been a lot of back and forths over the last few years with a whole bunch of people, including Jonathan and various lawmakers. One lawmaker in particular we need to mention is State Representative Kevin Stratton, who floated the idea in 2019 to create an official flag to commemorate the upcoming 125th anniversary of Utah's statehood. And as we now know, his idea came into fruition recently, and it was this design by Jonathan that was ultimately selected to be that flag. So what's the symbolism of the flag? From the website, we can see the symbolism presented very nicely. The beehive comes from the fact that Utah is known as the beehive state, and it's fitting that the beehive takes center stage of the design. The quadrant design alludes to the fact that Utah is known as the crossroads of the West. It got that name due to the fact that it was in Utah that the first transcontinental railroad was completed, which was a huge event that connected America's western and eastern railroads. The white 5-pointed star represents Utah's statehood. Utah joined the Union in 1896, and hence the 125th anniversary this year. The flag has 5 sections, the 4 quadrants and the central disc, and these honor the 5 native tribes of Utah. As for the colors, red represents the red rocks and national parks in the southern part of the state. Known as the greatest snow on Earth, white represents the snow-capped Rocky Mountains of Utah. And finally, blue represents the tradition of Utah as well as the Great Salt Lake, and is a carryover from the current flag. Putting all these together, we think the flag has wonderful symbolism. Here again is the variant of the flag with the 1847. While using writing as bad flag design, the year 1847 is extremely significant in Utah's history. Removing the writing results in a better flag design, but the symbolism of what happened in that year is lost. So while the remainder of the flag has great symbolism, some may argue that the symbolism of 1847 should remain. And it's worth recalling the survey result that revealed the commemorative variant with the 1847 was more popular, scoring exactly 11% higher. So what's our opinion on the commemorative flag? As all of our regular viewers know, we talk a lot about the 5 basic principles of flag design. These principles were compiled by Ted Kay, a well-known flag expert who is part of the North American Vexillological Association. On our channel, we reviewed the flags of every sovereign country in the world with a scoring system based on the 5 principles. We're not going to do a full review of the Utah commemorative flag, but we can tell you that under our scoring system, it would get a score of 9.2 out of 10. The flag loses a few marks for simplicity because the beehive design, as well as a combination of all the other flag elements, means this flag may be slightly difficult to draw accurately from memory. It also loses a few marks for color because it uses one color more than the recommended maximum of 3. And it has a minor color contrast issue with the outer yellow ring bordering the 2 white quadrants. The flag gets top marks for symbolism, not having writing or a seal, and also for being distinctive. So overall, this is a great design. If we were to give this flag our own personal score, we'd rate it slightly higher than the channel scoring system and give it a 9.5 out of 10. Compared to the other designs we've already looked at in this video, we think this is the best one. It doesn't have writing, and the contrast problem is solved by having the beehive on a blue disc instead of white. And also, the red star was changed to white, which also contrasts very well on the dark blue. And because this design solves those previous issues, we highly approve of this design, and we think it deserves its designation as the commemorative flag. So of all of Jonathan's other designs, do any others stand out to us? The answer to that question is yes. The website has a compilation of Jonathan's favorite designs, and we want to show you a couple of these. Here is one that has a yellow cross on blue. This flag obviously has the writing, but removing it would be an easy fix. Ignoring the writing, we think this is a fantastic design. Under our scoring system, this would achieve top marks for color because it only uses 3, and there are no contrast issues either. It would still lose some marks for simplicity and would get an overall score of 9.7. But if we were to give it our own personal score, we would give this one a perfect 10 out of 10. And we also have this flag. A variant of the previous one, this one swaps the yellow and blue, giving us a blue cross on a yellow field. And of course, this one already has the writing removed. Like the previous flag, this one would get 9.7 under our scoring system and also a perfect 10 out of 10 personal score. And we actually slightly prefer this one to the previous one because we think having more yellow on the flag helps it stand out more, especially among the many blue-dominated state flags. It's also interesting to note that these saltire designs are very similar to Jonathan's initial rough sketch. Going back once more to the survey, our favorite of blue on yellow also featured in his options list. And as we can see, it actually came in 3rd place, just 3.5% lower than the commemorative flag design, with just over 26% of people choosing it. In the end, this was the chosen design, and we think it was a great pick. While the blue, white, and red are not meant to evoke the US, perhaps these 3 colors give people a sense of familiarity and comfort, and combined with the vibrant yellow beehive, makes this a really bold and unique design, while also conveying tradition and pride. Here is a photograph Jonathan sent us of a prototype flag, and we think it looks really great. And here is a photograph of Utah State Senator Daniel McKay holding up the flag, who was the chief sponsor of Senate Bill 48, which made this the official 125th Anniversary Commemorative Flag of Utah. And here is the flag flying at the senator's house, with the U.S. flag flying above it. So what happens next? Jonathan plans to submit all of his designs to the Flag Design Task Force, including the commemorative flag. We think this flag, along with a few of his other designs, stand a really good chance of being shortlisted, and perhaps may even become the next state flag of Utah. It looks as though members of the public will be allowed to submit designs, and therefore the task force will likely receive a pretty large amount of submissions. So they will have a huge job ahead of them in choosing a flag. We don't know what the exact process will be, but we think there will be a referendum between the current flag and whatever flag the task force chooses. In our opinion, we believe the commemorative flag would be a great state flag, worthy of the state of Utah, or indeed our favorite out of Jonathan's designs. If the committee ends up choosing somebody else's design, we hope that it's a very special design that's at least on par with the commemorative flag. So what do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Remember to hit that subscribe button because we'll be updating you on developments in Utah, and of course we have a ton of other flag related videos on the channel already, with lots more coming your way in the future. Thank you for watching!